Nitya Deshatarinu. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasade Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So we continue reading from Canto 8 of Srimad Bhagavatam. We started chapter 4 yesterday. Does anyone remember what we read yesterday? Well, yesterday we read that the
Hare
Lord...
Krishna. Sorry.
Hare
Hare Krishna.
Krishna.
Sorry. Actually, I couldn't unmute myself. Sorry. Yeah.
Okay,
So
no worries.
we saw that how Lord came running on his vehicle and he killed the crocodile. And then he offered Gajendra offered the lotus flower, and then how all the other demigods were feeling bad about it, but then they also prayed to Lord for asking forgiveness, that they felt bad that he called to Vishnu, and then he came running, and then he saved Gajendra. And then we also read about the previous life of Gajendra, that he was King Indradyuman, and the crocodile was also Huhu, a Gandharva, Huhu Gandharva. So we were also reading that how they were cursed, and so we were reading in that part, that how he was cursed.
Yeah.
And what's their position.
Yeah. And that how the curse of a saintly person is actually not a curse, because now Indradumna, in one life already, now he's gotten liberation. He has a form same like Lord Vishnu. So he's gotten Sarupya Mukti. He has 4 arms and he looks like Lord Vishnu. And who has also become a Gandharva. All his sinful reactions are gone away. He's able to see the Lord. Yeah. So both got benefited. So we can actually see that the curse of a sadhu is not actually a curse, but a blessing in disguise. So, okay, thank you so much. And we are going to continue. Well, the Lord came
Hare
on
Krishna.
Garuda. Hare Krishna.
Yeah. So when somebody cursed by saintly person, so this cursed became the blessings and he liberated from the cycle of birth and death. Is something like that?
Yes. Yes,
Oh,
that's right.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Gajendra is gone now to
Yeah,
Vaikuntha.
yeah. Yeah, you
Mm,
just
So
said like he
liberated.
become.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Okay.
liberated from cycle of birth and death. Okay.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Savai,
Hare Krishna.
Savai, okay, Hare Krishna. Savai Purvam Abhudraja.
Save Purvam Abhudraja.
Pandyo Dravida Sattamaha.
Pandyo Dravida Shatmaha.
Indradyumna iti kyato.
Indradyumna iti kyato.
Vishnu Vrata Parayanaha.
Vishnu Vrata Parayanaha.
Translation by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. This Gajendra had formerly been a Vaishnav and the king of the country known as Pandya, which is in the province of Dravida, South India. In his previous life, he was known as Indradyumna Maharaj. Sa ekadara dhanakala atmavan.
Sa ekdara dhankal atmavan.
Grihita mauna vrata ishvaram harim.
Grahit mona vrat ishwaram hari.
Jatadarastapasa aplutochutam.
Jatadarastapsa aplutochutam.
Samarchayam asakula chalashamaha.
Samaratyamaasam kulachalaashramah.
Indradyumna Maharaj retired from family life and went to the Malaya hills, where he had a small cottage for his ashram. He wore matted locks on his head and always engaged in austerities. Once, while observing a vow of silence, he was fully engaged in the worship of the Lord and absorbed in the ecstasy of love of Godhead. So he was a king. Earlier days, the kings would also retire from being a king and then they would dedicate their time to devotional service. Here, he has already ecstasy, a love of God. So, very advanced devotee. Yatra chaya tatra maha yasha munihi
Yadrichaya tatra mahayasha muni.
samagamache gane parishritaha.
Samagamachirsya gane parishritaha.
Tam vikshya tushnim akritarhanadikam.
Tam vikshatushnim
Tam
akritarhanadikam.
Rahasi upasinam rishis chukopaha.
Rahasi
Rahasya
upasinam
upasinam
rishi chukopaha.
rishishtukopaha.
While Indradyumna Maharaj was engaged in ecstatic meditation, worshipping the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the great sage Agastya Muni arrived there, surrounded by his disciples. When the Muni saw that Maharaj Indradyumna, who was sitting in a secluded place, remained silent and did not follow the etiquette of offering him a reception, he was very angry. So, because Indradyumna Maharaj, he is sitting in meditation, he's absorbed in ecstasy, he didn't realize the Muni has come. Tasma imam shapam adad asadhur.
Tasma
Tasmam
imam
shapam
shapam
adad
adad
asadhu.
asadhu.
Ayam duratma krita buddhir adya.
Ayam duratma
Akrita buddhi
akritabuddhi adyaha.
adya.
Viprabhamanta vishatam tamisram.
Viprabhamanta
Vipravamanta
vishtatam tamistram.
Yatha gajahasta tamati sa eva.
Yatha
yatha
gajahastabdamati
gajastabdamati
sa eva.
Agastya Muni then spoke this curse against the king. This king Indradyumna is not at all gentle. Being low and uneducated, he has insulted a Brahmana. May he therefore enter the region of darkness and receive the dull, dumb body of an elephant. An elephant is very strong, it has a very big body, and it can work very hard and eat a large quantity of food. But its intelligence is not at all commensurate with its size and strength. Thus, in spite of so much bodily strength, the elephant works as a menial servant for a human being. So he's so big. A human being is so small. He's much more stronger than a human being, but he's not very intelligent. That's why he can work like, the elephants are made to carry big, big logs of wood. I don't know if you'll have seen. So, anyway, before at least we would see that. Agastya Muni thought it wise to curse the king to become an elephant because the powerful king did not receive Agastya Muni as one is obliged to receive a Brahman. Yet, although Agastya Muni cursed Maharaj Indradyumna to become an elephant, the curse was indirectly a benediction. For by undergoing one life as an elephant, Indradyumna Maharaj ended the reactions for all the sins of his previous life. Immediately after the expiry of the elephant's life, he was promoted to Vaikuntha Lok to become a personal associate of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Narayan in a body exactly like that of the Lord. This is called Sarupya Mukti. So as we read yesterday, that Gajendra, as soon as the Lord pulled him out of the water, Gajendra's body got purified. He got 4 arms and looked exactly like the Lord. Sarupya Mukti. So, although one may say, oh, why did the Muni curse him? But it became a blessing in disguise for Gajendra, for Indradumna Maharaj, that in one life he could get liberation, go back home, back to Godhead. Any comments, questions?
Yeah, Hare Krishna. Yeah, actually, what is the reason why? Just now you say why Agastya Muni cursed King Indradyumna? Is king has done something like insulted Agastya Muni or some wrong things he did? Why he
Well, when
cursed?
Agastya Muni came there, the
Mm-hmm.
king was in meditation, so he didn't give a reception to the Muni. Because he
But
was in
is it wrong? But I just want to know, like, because he was doing meditation, so is it wrong?
Well, because the Indradyumna Maharaj, he's a king, right? And
Mm-hmm.
Agastya Muni is a rishi. So
Mm-hmm.
if we see in the order, Agastya Muni is more elevated. Usually, if somebody comes to our house, it is um, when we see somebody, it is etiquette that we get up, we offer them respect, we speak to them, ask them to sit down, right? It's a matter of etiquette, which Indradyumna Maharaj was not able to do because he was meditating on the Lord. So, seeing this, Agastya Muni became angry.
Mm. But when somebody came to our house and we were doing worship or something, तो बोलते हैं ना कि थोड़े देर मतलब we can also ignore, not ignore, like we were doing our work, what we were doing that time. जैसे पूजा ही कर रहे हैं तो सोचते हैं ना पूजा खत्म कर लें, या समटाइम जैसे फोन आता है हम आरती करते हैं या पूजा करते हैं तो हम इग्नोर करते हैं ना, तो
Yeah,
इज इट नॉट लाइक इंसल्टिंग, राइट?
yeah. So then we have to consider, देखो, अभी Agastya Rishi is a great personality.
हम्म.
Now the people who are calling us, call, then you can return the call later, right?
हम्म.
But if somebody's at the door ringing the doorbell, you're probably gonna go and see who it is,
हम्म.
right?
हम्म.
Usually, I mean, normally, that's practically that what we may do.
हम्म.
Because if the puja is gonna take 1 hour, for example, we are not gonna let the person
Close
stay
the
out of
door.
the house
हाँ
for
हाँ.
1 hour. 1 hour we
Yes.
won't. So we'll at least tell him, okay, please come inside, have a seat. I'll be right back with you. Kindly give me some time. I just have to finish my
हाँ
puja.
हाँ. Yeah,
That
yeah,
is if
that's true.
somebody's coming personally. If it's a phone
Mm.
call, of course, you're not going to pick it up that time. You know,
Mm.
you're going to call them later.
Mm.
So always we have to
Okay.
see time, place, and circumstance.
Mm.
What is the time, place, and circumstance? So here, this is a Muni, he's coming with his disciples, so he's also expecting some kind of a reception, and that's why he's gotten angry now,
Mm.
Okay, I have
because
another
he's a
question.
great rishi. Yes, yes, Sheila.
Yeah, as it's mentioned that King Indradyuman was in Prema Bhakti, right? It was mentioned he was in ecstatic love of God. So at that time, uh, like Lord is already present in our hearts as Paramatma. So as far as I have read until now, it's always said that for a pure devotee, it is the responsibility of Krishna to save him at that time, right? So uh, here, King Indradyumna has not done this intentionally, right? Then why still he was cursed and was not saved by Krishna himself? So isn't it contradictory to that? Like Krishna is always taking care of his pure devotees.
So that's where here Prabhupada is explaining in the purport that it actually became a benediction. Why Krishna didn't interfere? Because it became a benediction that now, as when he's an elephant, he's going to, after this elephant body, he's going to go back home, back to Godhead. So just in one life, he can go back to Godhead, whereas it may have taken him much longer time otherwise.
Oh, even at the stage of like Prema Bhakti is the last stage, right?
Yeah, of
After
course, here it's here he was in ecstatic ecstasy of love of Godhead, absorbed in ecstasy of love of Godhead. Yeah, is true what you say. So he's probably on the stage of bhava because ecstasy is written, the word ecstasy. So bhava usually. So not yet prema probably.
okay.
So then like how we see how Bharat Maharaj, he still had some desire. So that's why he had to take another 2 lives and then he
Hmm.
goes back to Godhead. So we have to understand that Krishna is always there with us and he's always looking after us. And he's trying to see how I can bring this devotee more faster to me. Krishna is not going to delay the devotees going back home, back to Godhead. He always, in fact, wants it to become faster. Like we saw
Okay.
in the case of Vritrasur also, Chitraketu, Mara Chitraketu. He was cursed to become a demon, and then in one life, he went to the spiritual world.
Hmm. Okay.
So here also, Krishna is not interfering because just one life and then he's coming back to Godhead.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
And Hare Krishna, Shilpaji, and like how we know that Krishna, just a rai, what we do a service of a rai, he considers it as a Meru Parvat.
Yeah, that's right.
So he's always wanting us to come back. Like in any situation, he's placing us so that we can get purified. Sometimes those situations might look reverse to us and very bad to us, but those are the situations where we get purified because we need to get purified to cross up the stages to come to him. So like, and then he's so merciful that he, even a small service done to him, even like a tiny mustard seed service done to him, he considers it like a Meru Parvat. So he's
Yeah,
very merciful, right? Yeah.
yeah. Thank you. Yes, thank you. So is it okay, Ratna and Sheena?
Yes, that is fine. Thank you.
That's fine. All right. Thank you. Ratna, you're good? All right. So let's go on. Shishukuvacha
Shri Shuka Uvacha
evam shaptva gato gastyo
Evam Shatva Gatogastyo
bhagavan ripasanugaha
Bhagavan Nipasanugaha
indradyumnopi rajarishir
Indradyumnopi Rajarishi
dishtam tad upadharayan
Drishtam Tat Upadharayan
apanak kaun jarim yonim
Apanam Pancharim Yonim
atmasmiti vinashinim
Atma Smriti Vinashinim
hari archanubhavena
Hari Archana Anubhavena
yat gajatvepi anusmritihi.
Yat Gajatve Api Anusmriti.
Sukadev Goswami continued, my dear king, after Agastya Muni had thus cursed King Indradyumna, the Muni left that place along with his disciples. Since the king was a devotee, he accepted Agastya Muni's curse as welcome because it was the desire of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, although in his next life he got the body of an elephant, Because of devotional service, he remembered how to worship and offer prayers to the Lord. So this is the unique position of a devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Although the king was cursed, he welcomed the curse because a devotee is always aware that nothing can happen without the desire of the Supreme Lord. Although the king was not at fault, Agastya Muni cursed him, and when this happened, the king considered it to be due to his past misdeeds. Tatenu kampam susamikshamana. This is a practical example of how a devotee thinks. So does anyone remember any other person who was cursed and then he accepted the curse and he did not
Jai Vijay.
protest?
Jai Vijay
Jai
also.
Vijay. Jai Vijay
Yeah.
also.
Parikshit
And
Who
Maharaj.
else? Parikshit Maharaj. That's right. He was also a king. He did a very small, like, compared to the curse he got, his act was like kind of, it was not a very grave act. But for that he got such a big curse. But it was a blessing in disguise. He got to hear Srimad Bhagavatam. And after hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, he got a spiritual body and went to the spiritual world. So Krishna is seeing this, the mood of a devotee. Here, Agastya Muni's mood is he's not saying, hey, what, I didn't do such a big fault. I was in meditation. Can't you see I'm meditating on the Supreme Lord? Krishna is always saying, engage your mind in thinking of me. So I'm following what Krishna is telling me. Why you're cursing me? Indradyumna Maharaj is not saying that. He's accepting it. Saying, okay, it's because of my past karma. Tate nukampam susamikshamana. That's how a devotee accepts that. When a devotee gets suffering, he accepts it that it's due to my past misdeeds. I have done so many sinful actions in the past. So because of that, I'm getting this suffering reaction. But Krishna is so kind that he's making me suffer less. Otherwise, I would have suffered more because I've done so many more sins. So he gives credit to Krishna in that way. So this is a practical example of how a devotee thinks. He regards any reverses in life as blessings of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, instead of being agitated by such reverses, he continues his activities of devotional service, and Krishna takes care of him and enables him to be promoted to the spiritual world, back to Godhead. If a devotee has to suffer the reactions of his past misdeeds, the Supreme Lord arranges for him to be given only a token of these reactions. And very soon he is freed from all the reactions of material contamination. So the devotee has firm faith that whatever Krishna is doing is good for me. I'm suffering now is because of what I've done in the past. I don't like the situation, but let me just accept it. But the pure devotee doesn't even say, I don't like it. He's saying, oh, it's because of me. Of course, I've done bad, so of course I'm going to get bad reactions. But Krishna is kind. He's giving me only a little bit. So a devotee should not be disturbed by unfortunate circumstances, but must continue his regular program, depending on the Lord for everything. The word upadharayan, considering, is very significant in this verse. This word indicates that a devotee knows what is what. He understands what is happening in material, conditional life. So what qualities can we understand here of Indradyumna Maharaj then? What are a few qualities that we could understand?
So tolerant and humble.
Tolerant and humble, yeah.
And
That's what
acceptance,
came to.
whatever
I'm
comes.
sorry.
Acceptance.
Acceptance. Yes,
Yeah, whatever
acceptance.
comes. Yeah.
Whatever comes. Yeah. Tolerant, humble, acceptance.
Dependent on Lord. He's always dependent on Lord.
Dependent on the Lord. Yeah. Dependent on the Lord. Yeah. Yes, firm faith in the Lord. Firm faith. It's completely surrendered. So yes, firm faith. So we can see that the mood of the devotee. Evam vimokshya gajayutapam abjanabhas
Evam vimokshya gajayutapam arjuna
tena viparshadagatim gamitena yuktaha.
tena
Viparshadagatim
Gandharva siddha vibhuder upagiyamana.
Mana
Karmadbhutam swabhavanam garudasanogat.
Karmadbhutam swabhavanam
Garudasana
Or delivering the king of the elephants from the clutches of the crocodile and from material existence, which resembles a crocodile. The Lord awarded him the status of Sarupya Mukti in presence of the Gandharvas, the Siddhas, and the other demigods who were praising the Lord for his wonderful transcendental activities. The Lord, sitting on the back of his carrier, Garuda, returned to his all-wonderful abode and took Gajendra with him. So now, imagine being with the Lord face to face. The Lord is taking him, personally taking him. He's come now. The Lord came on Garuda, listening, hearing the prayers of Gajendra, and he's come personally to take him to the spiritual world. What more could one ask for? We saw when Ajamil was calling out, the Yamadutas were coming to take him. Then because he said Narayan, then the Vishnudutas came. Okay, in this verse, the word vimoksha is significant for a devotee. Moksha or mukti, salvation, means getting the position of the Lord's associate. The impersonalists are satisfied to get the liberation of merging in the Brahman effulgence. But for a devotee, mukti, liberation, means not to merge in the effulgence of the Lord, but to be directly promoted to the Vaikuntha planets and to become an associate of the Lord. So why the devotee does not want to, why he's not satisfied just to be in the Brahman?
because he can't see the Lord personally.
That's right. Yes. He can't see the Lord. He cannot serve the Lord. He wants to personally serve the Lord, be with the Lord, associate with Him. And he can't do that. So that's why he doesn't want to go to the Brahman effulgence. So in this regard, there's a relevant verse in Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, chapter 14, text 8. Tate nukampam susamikshamano punjana evatma kritam vipakam radvagva purbir vidadan namaste Jivetayo mukti pade sadaya bhak. One who seeks your compassion and thus tolerates all kinds of adverse conditions due to the karma of his past deeds, who engages always in your devotional service with his mind, words, and body, and who always offers obeisances unto you, is certainly a bona fide candidate for liberation. So Bhagavatam is saying that a devotee who's tolerating, even no matter what suffering is coming, is understanding because I've done some sinful activity in the past. That's why I'm getting this suffering. These are the reactions to my action. And he continues to engage in devotional service. He does not stop his worship of the Lord. He continues to hear and chant uh, about the glories of the Lord. Then Bhagavatam is saying he's a bona fide candidate for liberation. Means after he gives up this body, he will go to the spiritual world. A devotee who tolerates everything in this material world and patiently executes his devotional service can become Mukti Padesa Dayabhak, a bona fide candidate for liberation. The word Dayabhak refers to a hereditary right to the Lord's mercy. Hereditary right. So a devotee must simply engage in devotional service, not caring about material situation. So hereditary, like what does the son have to do to get his inheritance? Yeah.
Just
He
do
simply,
things that are,
hmm?
yeah, sorry. Yeah, he just
So,
simply do what pleases his father.
hmm. Yeah. And he simply has to live longer than his father.
Father, yes.
He-
Live longer.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
lives longer than his father. His father dies, all the money comes to him. He gets the inheritance, right? He becomes the rightful heir. Now, of course, maybe the fathers may write a will, okay, don't give to my son. As you said, if he's not following what his father is saying. But anyway, if he's a good son, as you said, he's following what the father is saying. He lives longer than the son, he gets the inheritance. So similarly, the devotee's inheritance, devotee's hereditary right to the Lord's mercy, that he tolerates, he engages in devotional service. No matter his happiness is coming, he engages in devotional service. Suffering is coming, he still engages in devotional service. Then he automatically becomes a rightful candidate for promotion to Vaikuntha Lok. The devotee who renders unalloyed service to the Lord gets the right to be promoted to Vaikuntha Lok, just as a son inherits the property of his father. When a devotee gets liberation, he becomes free from material contamination and engages as a servant of the Lord. So liberation doesn't mean that, okay, I'm going to become God or I will not exist anymore or, some dark thing. No, liberation, what the devotee does after he gets liberated, he engages in service to the Lord with love. He understands, oh, I have a loving relationship with the Lord. He's no more now thinking that he's the body. He's gotten liberated. He doesn't have that ignorance anymore. He's not thinking I'm the body, all these things related to the body are mine. Now he's understood I am the Lord's and the Lord is mine. And he's engaging in this relationship. This is explained in Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 10, Text 6, Muktir Hitvan Yatha Rupam Swarupena Vyavasthiti. The word Swarup refers to Sarupya Mukti, going back home, back to Godhead, and remaining the Lord's eternal associate, having regained a spiritual body exactly resembling that of the Lord, with 4 hands, holding the Shankha, Chakra, Gada, and Padma. So Sarupya Mukti. What is Sarupya Mukti?
You get the
Having the
same
same.
form,
Oh,
Hmm?
same form as Krishna.
Yeah, same form as Krishna. The Swarup looking the same form, 4 hands. That's Sarupya Mukti. The difference between the mukti of the impersonalist and that of the devotee is that the devotee is immediately appointed an eternal servant of the Lord, whereas the impersonalist, although merging in the effulgence of the Brahmajyoti, is still insecure and therefore generally falls again to this material world. So even though one may go to the Brahman, which is not easy, it's very difficult to go to the Brahman. One may think, oh, it's easy. No, it takes lifetimes and lifetimes. Those who reach the Brahman are actually very qualified. So even after much endeavor, one may reach the Brahman, but one can't stay there permanently. One will still come back to the material world until unless one has knowledge of devotional service. When one gets knowledge of devotional service, then one will become a pure devotee of the Lord. Do you all remember any example of any devotees who were liberated and then after that they became pure devotees? They were liberated personalities. Then after that, they became pure devotees. Two
Was it
examples are very famously quoted.
who is it Kumaras? Four Kumaras.
That's right. That's right. The four Kumaras. Yeah, they were Brahmavadis. They understood the Lord as the Brahman. But when they smelt the tulsi leaves from the lotus feet
And
of Lord Vishnu, they became pure devotees. And who else?
also the Sukadev Goswami.
Yeah, Sukadev Goswami. He was a liberated personality. He heard Bhagavatam. He got so attracted to Bhagavatam. He became a pure devotee. So, okay. So, although the impersonalist rises to the Brahman effulgence and enters into that effulgence, he has no engagement in the service of the Lord, and therefore he is again attracted to materialistic philanthropic activities. Thus, he comes down to open hospitals and educational institutions, feed poor men, and perform similar materialistic activities, which the impersonalist thinks are more precious than serving the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So one may reach the Brahman, but because one has no knowledge of devotional service, and the soul is always active, cannot not do anything. The soul always has to do something. But if there's no knowledge of devotional service, then one will again act on the material platform. Of course, one begins by doing a lot of philanthropic work, feeding the poor, or opening hospitals, educational institutions. Then somebody may say, oh, well, but isn't it good to do such things? We should be caring about others, we should help others. Yes, it is good, very good to do these things. But along with doing these things, give Krishna consciousness. Relate these philanthropic activities to Krishna consciousness, then it's the best thing to do. The best welfare activity is to give Krishna consciousness to someone so that they can give a permanent solution to the suffering. Yeah, permanent. If they can go back home, back to Godhead, no more suffering for them. So, anadrata yusmat angrayaha. The impersonalists do not know that the service of the Lord is more valuable than serving the poor man or starting a school or hospital. Although they say Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya, Brahman is real and the material world is false, they are nonetheless very eager to serve the false material world and neglect the service of the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So actually one who serves the Lord serves everyone. One may think that, oh, is it that I just have to serve Krishna and then I will neglect everyone else? But one who is actually serving Krishna in truth is actually serving everyone, because then he tries to bring everyone back home, back to Godhead. How many ever people he can. He tries to serve them, give them, engage them in devotional service, bring them home, back to Godhead. So he becomes a kind friend to everyone. Any comments, questions?
This is so beautiful. Like how, like he comes back and he tries, and like how even each one of us, sometimes we feel so happy serving the other person, but we don't understand that yes, that is okay, but if we give Krishna to them, then that is more it's like more helpful for them. We try to give our like how I give 1,000 NT or a gift to somebody, I feel it's more. But if I just, like how you said, if you just connect Krishna, if I give a gift that is connected to Krishna, that gives some sense, it makes some sense for both of us, for him, so that he can also connect to Krishna, and he can also get connect and get the love of Krishna. Like how I remember we read before that connecting everybody to Krishna is the biggest thing that we can do for anybody, rather than just feeding them food that is not offered to Krishna, or giving them gifts that is not in connection with Krishna. Yes, it will give them a temporary happiness, but it will not make any sense.
Yeah,
not
there's
any
no
change
eternal
with them.
benefit.
Yeah, it's
Mm.
more eternal. Yeah.
Eternal
So
benefit is when we can give them Krishna consciousness. Yeah, it's to their eternal benefit then.
like I remember, uh, like my friends telling me sometime कि क्या तुम अपने हर तुम्हारा कुछ भी होता है तुम टेम्पल में खाना कर देती हो, कोई पार्टी वार्टी दो, ये क्या होता है? ऐसे थोड़ा ना होता है, कोई तुम कोई पार्टी नहीं देती हो आजकल, कोई भी तुम्हारा प्रोग्राम है टेम्पल में करती हो. तो I didn't say anything. I said that I like it. And then I was just thinking, ke, oh Krishna, give me more and more, like to hold that I can do it more in a more grander way rather than किसी की बात सुन के मैं उसको नहीं करूं. Rather give me more, more power or more knowledge कि मैं उसको और grander way में कर सकूं, आपसे ज्यादा को connect कर पाऊं, because it doesn't matter. That is more sensible. It looks more sensible to me.
Mm.
Because
Yeah,
people
give
feel that
Krishna
way sometimes
conscious. Mm.
कि तुम यहाँ पे पार्टी सेलिब्रेट कर रहे हो, that what sense it makes, वहां कहीं बाहर तो पार्टी नहीं करते हो. I said yeah, but that's what I like, what can I do? In
Mm.
that way I'm connecting people to Krishna, right? उनको नहीं पता कि उन्हें क्या मिल रहा है, right?
Yeah,
जब वो आते हैं तो they don't know what they are getting.
yeah, yeah. So they are getting agyata sukriti. It's to their
Yes,
eternal benefit.
but they don't know.
So you're doing good for them.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, actually, I really didn't understand. Brahman is real and the material world is false. This sentence is okay. But later, they are nonetheless very eager to serve the false material world and neglect the service of lotus feet to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, what exactly it means? Because when we are serving to material world, uh, regarding like Krishna consciousness or the prasadam or the bhakti or the sankirtan, so these all we are doing in material world, right?
Okay, so
Because
one
this is
minute. You have
material
to,
world and
yeah, 1 minute.
yeah.
You have to understand what
Mhm.
Prabhupada is saying, that this is what the impersonalists are saying. Prabhupada is not saying Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya. The impersonalists are saying that this material world is false and only real is Brahman. Then Prabhupada is putting the argument that if you're saying the material world is false and if Brahman is real, then why you're just doing material activities and not doing spiritual activities? This is the argument that Prabhupada is putting forth based on this statement of Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya. Actually, the material world is not false. The material world is temporary. So the very fact when somebody is saying material world is false is not a correct statement. So we are very much inside the material world, very much exists, but it's
Mm.
temporary. It's not false, but temporary.
Mm.
Is that okay?
Okay. Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. Because devotees who are living right now in the earth, indirectly they are also attached with material world and material work also. Because
Hmm.
they are doing their personal work and they are doing like Prabhuji who is initiated and who are going to give initiation to other person. Sometimes they fly from one place to another place. तो यहाँ पे कहीं ना कहीं तो मेटेरियलिस्टिक थिंग्स आ जाता है ना,
Hmm.
आता है ना
Okay.
कि
हाँ,
हाँ,
फिर
तो indirectly they are also attached with material world and material work,
That's
right?
right.
But they're
That is
connecting to Krishna,
yeah.
whatever they are
That's
doing,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, so that's why let's understand what Ratna's question is. Yeah, so and
So
then
then, like luxurious, they are also spending their luxurious life, flying from one place to another place, and
Mhm.
like using Mercedes or BMW, even these all are from the devotees, other devotees, or disciple of that pure devotee, maybe. Like, but they are using, agar in place of Mercedes or BMW, they can also use some normal vehicle or normal things. They can eat food like, yes, it's okay that the disciples or the devotees are served to Krishna first, and then this prasad distributed to everyone. But ये luxuriously हो जाता है ना, मतलब कि मेरा औकात तो इतना ज्यादा है तो मैंने ऐसे ऐसे बनाया, but मेरा अब somebody else like who is also serving in the same sense, but that time it's make difference. And I, मतलब ये मेरा realization है personal कि in that place somebody who is giving service, full-time service to the temple or the other places, but they also differentiate with common people and the posh people. तो यहाँ पे material, मैं मतलब ये समझना चाह रही हूँ कि material world and material work is indirectly related with the pure devotees also, right?
So, okay.
Because
So
they,
now we have to understand we are inside the material world, right? So you are right in saying that whatever we are contacting is the material energy, right? You're saying car, bali BMW
yes,
hove ya auto rickshaw hove ya bicycle
yeah,
hove. It's all
हाँ,
material. Well, not only
yes,
that
yes,
BMW is material, but even a bicycle is material.
hmm,
Auto rickshaw is also material.
hmm,
So aeroplane is also material. So it's true, we can only interact with material energy now, right? Because we are inside the material world. We are inside this material energy. So how to approach Krishna? So Krishna is also the owner of this material world, this material energy. So the BMW also belongs to Krishna, and the bicycle also belongs to Krishna. The aeroplane also belongs to Krishna. The rasgulla also belongs to Krishna, and the khichdi also belongs to Krishna. So when these material things are offered to Krishna, engaged in the service of Krishna, they become spiritual. That is the art of changing material to spiritual. Understand? So the devotee is using aeroplane to go one place to another, but why is he using it? He's going to do preaching, to give Krishna consciousness to everyone. Right? And that is real renunciation, because there is one renunciation which says, no, 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 I cannot touch aeroplane because it's material. No, 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 I cannot eat rasgulla because it's material. I will just eat rukhi sukhi roti. But rukhi sukhi roti is also material. Right? It's not that it is spiritual. It's also material, right? But when it's offered to Krishna, then it becomes spiritual. So anything offered to Krishna becomes spiritual. And that is a real renunciation. Artificial renunciation is like, I don't want anything. I'm not going to use anything. I'm going to just stay as a poor person. But real renunciation is whatever is there, it anyway belongs to Krishna. So let me use it for Krishna's service. You understand? Rupa Goswami is teaching about this, about Yukta Vairagya and Falgu Vairagya, false renunciation, because anyway it doesn't belong to us. Even the humble food does not belong to us. Even the bicycle or auto rickshaw doesn't belong to us. Everything is belonging to Krishna. So need to use in his service. So the pure devotee knows how to use in his service. Now there may be different types of devotees. There may be different levels of each devotee. Some devotee may be a pure devotee, whereas another devotee may not be a pure devotee. That's okay, because each of us is in our own personal journey to back home, back to Godhead. Another person's what do we say, how another person is acting is not going to affect our own journey back to Godhead. We have to see, what do we want? You understand?
Yeah, that's
What
true.
do
Yeah.
we want to do? Do I want to go
Yes.
back to
Yes.
Godhead, or do I just want to stay here? It depends on me. Another person, whether he's going in an aeroplane or a BMW or an auto rickshaw, is not going to
Mm.
affect my own journey. That's going to
Mm.
affect his journey.
Mm.
And we don't know his consciousness. When Mukunda took Gadadhar Pandit to meet Pondarik Vidyanidhi, Mukunda told Gadadhar Pandit, I'm going to take you to meet a Mahabhagavat. I'm going to take you to meet a very pure devotee. And then they enter the house of Pondarik Vidyanidhi, and Pondarik Vidyanidhi is sitting in a brick jula. And he has made jula made of gold. And there is so much golden plates in front of him, and beautiful uh, golden plates is there. Huh? And then he has so much variety of food in front of him, and so many servants are there, and the servants are fanning him with peacock feather and yak tails, and he's chewing pan, and he's wearing very expensive clothes and diamonds and jewelry, and has even his, the to spit the pan, you have a small container that is also made of gold, and his hair is scented with oiled, very expensive scents he is wearing. And then Gadadhar Pandit is saying, Mukunda is telling me this is a pure devotee. He looks like to me a Vaishai. He looks like to me a materialistic man. How Mukunda is telling me this is a pure devotee? This man seems to be a bhogi. He seems to be an enjoyer. He has so much luxury. He's living such a big palace and so many servants and so much gold, and even his eating utensils are made of gold. His plates and bowls, all this are made of gold. And so much variety of food is just lying in front of him like that. And servants are going around him. So for sure he's not a devotee. Now Mukunda could understand the heart of Gadadhar Pandit. So he starts reciting a verse from Srimad Bhagavatam. And when Pundarik Vidyanidhi heard the Bhagavatam verse, he became ecstatic. He threw around everything what was in front of him. He didn't know what was happening. He got into ecstasy of the Lord, threw all the plates which are in front of him. He was rolling on the ground. There was ecstatic symptoms coming from on his body. You know how we hear there's 8 types of ecstatic symptoms. So some of the ecstatic symptoms were there on the body. Then Gadadhar Pandit, just by hearing a Bhagavatam verse, huh? We are hearing Bhagavatam verse every day. We don't go into ecstasy anyway. So, but then Gadadhar Pandit could understand, oh, I made an offense. Actually, Pundarik Vidyanidhi is a very great devotee. I made an offense thinking him to be an ordinary person. Yeah? So then he wants to make up for it. He wants to ask forgiveness. So then he asks Lord Chaitanya that should I take Diksha from Pundarik Vidyanidhi, and then he takes Diksha from Pundarik Vidyanidhi. And Pundarik Vidyanidhi is happy to give him initiation. He says, oh, I have such a nice disciple as you. I'm happy to have a nice disciple as you. Because Gadadhar Pandit was very simple. He was a simple brahmachari. When he saw so much opulence, he couldn't understand that a pure devotee also could be so opulent. So anyway, this is just to say, that there are pure devotees who are very opulent also.
Yes, yes.
And so but then what do we want? That is what is important.
Mm. Yes.
Because what another person is doing or behaving or acting is not going to affect
Yes, yes, very true, very true.
our
Like this is
devotion.
also a type of scene, like when we are looking somebody else and trying to make some like default and making some like so somehow like the conclusion is like we must have to relate every work with Krishna, and then Krishna will help us for the next stage of our life, right?
That's
Like
right. Yes.
yeah,
Because as
what
you rightly said, that everything is material. We are in contact with
ah
material energy. We are inside the
yes,
material energy. Then what to do?
yes,
And
that's
this
right.
material energy, who belongs to? who it
Yeah.
belongs to.
Yeah, the Krishna.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So everything belongs to Krishna.
Krishna. Yeah.
So it's
Knowingly
not
or
only
not
the
unknowingly. Yeah.
yeah, it's not only expensive things belong to Krishna.
Yes,
Inexpensive
yes.
things also belong to
Yes,
Krishna.
yes. Very true. Very true.
So
Very true.
everything needs to be engaged
Mm.
in Krishna's service, and that is
Mhm.
real renunciation.
Yes, yes. Very true.
That is given by Rupa Goswami and
Mm.
Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu
Mm.
about engaging engaging everything in the service of Krishna.
Mm.
Okay. ठीक है.
Thank you.
Just one
Thank
thing,
you.
Shilpari, just one
Thank you.
thing. And the biggest
हाँ,
example is Srila Prabhupada, how he engaged
Yes,
everything in the service of Krishna.
that's right.
Yeah,
Yes.
very true, very true. Like हम
Yeah.
डाइवर्ट हो जाते हैं ना, but we must have to concentrate upon Krishna. कि सब उनका ही है, जो भी हम भोग रहे हैं या जो कष्ट है, सुख है, everything is related with Krishna, right?
सिर्फ हम
Yes.
नहीं, हमें एक्चुअली हमें क्या लगता है, हम
मतलब
कभी कभी ये
हमारा
भूल
मतलब वो
जाते
बोलने
हैं
का मतलब
कि
हुआ हम मीन्स
सामने
ऑल.
वाला नहीं,
हाँ,
लेकिन
ऑल
हम
ऑल.
पता है दूसरे वाले में फॉल्ट्स ढूंढने लग जाते हैं. हमें लगता है कि हम तो बहुत अच्छे हैं, लेकिन शायद सामने वाला सही नहीं है. हमारी सबसे बड़ी प्रॉब्लम वही है.
नहीं वो नहीं है एक्चुअली. मतलब मेरा तो क्वेश्चन दूसरा था कि
हाँ, नहीं, मैं
इवन
आई गॉट योर पॉइंट, बट मैं सिर्फ बता रही हूँ अपनी प्रॉब्लम एज अ ह्यूमन बीइंग. अपनी सबसे बड़ी प्रॉब्लम यही है, रखना
हाँ
कुछ नहीं कर
ये
सकते अपने में.
हाँ मतलब होल
तो
वर्ल्ड
देखो
इज
जैसे somebody had asked Prabhupada, oh, your devotees got you a Rolls Royce.
हम्म
Then Prabhupada said, why not? Why not?
हम्म
This is for Krishna, right?
हाँ
He's serving
हाँ
Krishna. Why Krishna should only be like a poor man? Why?
हाँ
हम्म
yeah
If Krishna is giving all the opulences, use it in service of Krishna.
yes
Prabhupada traveled all over the world. He's using
yes
aeroplanes to give Krishna
yes
consciousness to everyone.
yeah
Use everything for Krishna.
and maybe
That is
Krishna
real
make
renunciation.
arrangement for
Ah,
everything for Prabhupada ji, right? He
not
arranged everything
maybe.
because it was Krishna
Krishna
mercy.
did arrange. Exactly.
Yeah
Yes. And because Krishna knew that Prabhupada knew how to use the opulence correctly, so he gave him more and more
yes
opulence.
yes very
Because
true
he
very
knew
true.
he is using it to give Krishna consciousness to everyone.
Mm-hmm.
So Krishna gave him more and more and more and more.
Yeah वही अभी जो
Yeah.
हमने पढ़ा गजेंद्र महाराज का कि मतलब लस्ट नहीं होना चाहिए, इग्नोरेंस होना चाहिए एंड नो पैशन, जस्ट बी अ
Ignorance नहीं
डिवोटी.
होना चाहिए. Yeah,
हाँ नहीं
ignorance
होना
नहीं
चाहिए,
होना
नहीं
चाहिए.
होना
Yeah,
चाहिए. यस,
that's right.
just be a devotee and just concentrate what you are doing is for Krishna, right? So
Yeah,
Krishna
that's right.
make everything
Yeah,
for you,
yeah.
like he arrange
Sorry,
everything for you.
that's right. That's right. Sorry, I
Yeah.
have to really rush out. Thank
Yes
you all
yes
so
okay
much.
okay. Hare
Srimad
Krishna, Hare
Bhagavatam ki
Krishna.
jai, Srila Prabhupada ki
जय
jai,
Ji
Gaur
ki jai.
Bhakta Vrinda ki
जय.
jai.